So PV, Cyansea or APOC Navy, Striker or the Vindicator, whatever is your pick, is this high-sec carrier dread worth it? Let me explain and show you what it's really like. In the background you guys see the clip in real time so you can see for yourself. This makes it pretty easy to value if this is something that you want to invest into. Sure, the speed up videos are nice and all, but it does not really show the reality of actually farming yourself. I will go through this ship with all its good part and the less good part. I will not delve into too much numbers, but I will explain what they mean. Cause it is a very expensive ship for a carrier. Granted, it is also a dreadnought. And since all the capital ships have a huge disadvantage with limited nanocores, and all of them being through real money, and trust me, it is very hard to acquire any of them. Even the freighter one has almost no cores to farm for. I still don't own any of the freighter ones myself. So yeah, netties really need to open up the ability to eventually farm for nanocores. Cause it really wouldn't hurt to have a long-term goal available. So maybe just have the options, netties. So with the lack of nanocores out of the way, what's the benefit of saving up for a Cyansea and instead a regular carrier? Well, the Cyansea is overall better in DPS. It even tops dreadnoughts with its insane application. Cyansea hits everything small as large with pure power. Though I feel the tanking and the capacitator on a regular dreadnought is way better, especially with a good nanocore. But as we all know, normal caps can only be in low sec and no sec, and honestly, this is where they are best used. This is where the major risk is made, through anomalies. But also this is where you lose them. The Cyansea is in high sec, and unless you do stories with it, there is a very slim chance that you will lose it. But we all have heard about people falling asleep doing encounters, so sure, if you fall asleep with a Cyansea, you will lose it, and with the estimated IP to recover it, you will only lose this once. I have 40,000 IP and I still need to add 60,000 plex to have this one insured. That is 300 billion with a B. I might as well buy a new one if I die. And since there is no nanocores really, I do not lose that either if I don't reclaim it. So just to put this out there as a little hidden gem for you guys, this is the kind of tips that you get from watching my videos. When you're flying an IP saturated ship, like the Navy battleships or the new cruisers, it is a lot cheaper to have a spare in the hangar, just to never reclaim the last one that costed you like 8,000 IP. Just fit another one for vastly less ISK. That one was free for you guys, and thank you for supporting my channel. We will talk more about why I think the Cyansea is this expensive later in the video. And if you like what I do for the community and in this game and what I do here on YouTube, then give me a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't. You don't want to miss out on my giveaways or my events. If you see in the background here, this is my basic build with only one fighter DPS rig, and my skills are at this moment 440 overall for all the carriers and the fighter skills. And still it is a breeze to watch the explosions. I usually have my Vindicator with the AI core totally AFK, but it's of course not even close to this ticks. But if you just acquire the Cyansea and you do not invest in almost any skills, that really will hurt the tick. You do want at least 440 in the skills that involves damage, if you're gonna fly this one. People talk about the ship being too slow and that everything takes time because it is a capital. And yeah, it is somewhat slow, but the clear speed is insane, as you can see. What I did notice quick was the quite bad capacitor on this ship. Moving from Jida to anywhere will put your cap to 0 after a few jumps. This is very annoying, but I have to say that this ship is not meant to move around. It's made to stay close, maybe make a few jumps here and there, and honestly, 2 capacitator rigs makes a big difference. The ability to run high-sec encounters in a capital is not the most effective things that you can do, despite the clear speed. The T10 encounters that we have and have been having for almost 2 years now is not enough. It is too few rats, and doing the 2.5 to 3 million encounters in the Cyansea does not feel fitting. The way I feel is a good combination is that if I use my AI Vindicator for those missions, and when I get the harder ones, like the 5, 8 or 10 million encounters, I will bring out the Cyansea, clearing those in a few minutes, and then back to the Vindy for more passive AFK farm. Whatever people think now with ratting being maybe too easy for long-time players, I do feel we need a capital elite encounter page. Sure, this would bring more ISK into the game, depending on how they would implement that one, but it's not like we don't have that already today. And as I always say, do not change the income, but change what we do with the ISK, the ore and the materials that we do farm. But if we could limit the warp time or adding bigger or more waves in some new encounters suitable for capitals, then that would make this ship fit. Today the items for capital use gets more expensive since more people gets into them. The sub-capital items get less expensive, and sure, we do feel that they want to push us into capitals more and more. And just hear me out. EVE Echoes is not EVE Online, so the days of comparing is no more. What we might have here is a future with more usage of capital ships, even in high sec, and of course, even more profitable nullsec. This can be the reason why the Cyansea is valued so high today. The Cyansea is very expensive to build, and while $1 billion 2 years ago was a lot of money, today it is farmed quite easy. So I would say be prepared to have bigger income in the future, pilots. Be prepared that the Cyansea might be 100 billion to build, but also that our in-game wallets will be bigger with time. Now this game will probably have some special stuff for subcaps, besides the ones we have today, but capitals are something that we need to get into due time. Not necessarily to PvP in them, but as a long-term goal for players. And depending on how they want to run this game, we might see capital mining in high sec as well. And even if I personally feel that capitals is not needed, I do not know the future they have planned. I do like small ships, and I agree that I felt this is not the way to go. And if you do not like big ships, then I'm sorry. I do think we will get content for smaller ships in time, and to be honest, small ships ain't obsolete today. They still have a very important role in this game, and that is tackling. Now small pilot players might not like tackling, but it's one of the main ideas for faster ships. Now the general information for the Cyansea bonuses is 400% Entosis link, which is useless. It has 10% warp speed, this plus the high sec warp speed makes sense. 25% overall damage is really big. The 5% shield boost amount and shield is decent. The 61,000 capacitor is like normal carriers, but since we also have siege weapons, this system drains faster. There's also 860 in cargo hold, which is very normal. The stats overall seems okay and not really overpowered, but it definitely feels smooth. The tank, as I say, is slightly higher than a regular carrier, but lesser than a dreadnought. And if you don't know, then the network sensor mode makes you lock any ship in less than a second. So what do I feel about the Cyansea? I've flown caps before in nullsec and I did farm anomalies, but farming in highsec with Cyansea actually feels nice. Nullsec is not safe, not even in your pocket, and sure, usually it is safe, but you can never let the guard down from the chat. Now highsec is not as profitable as nullsec, but it is less dangerous, but also a lot more waiting and maintaining the encounters themselves. I do feel that the ship is too big for its purpose, but it is also a quite fun way to make ISK. But generally, without adding encounters, this ship would not be worth paying for. So I assume that the future will bring more encounters. If not, then this ship will be a dying breed. Or basically, just a nice thing to have in your hangar. Because flying the Cyansea in nullsec makes no sense, mostly because of the IP that is required for the ship. This IP is more suited for super carriers or maybe even a Titan. Now the visual of this ship actually has grown on me for a time. At first I thought it was ugly and it didn't fit into EVE Echoes at all. But now when I look at it and I see the ship bay with its glowing beams and the moving parts while entering warp speed, it's not too bad. But I do feel like everyone else that a landing pad in space was a very dumb decision. Now you do not need this ship to make money in the game. It is vastly better to farm money in a normal carrier in nullsec, and this is if money is everything that you're going for. But if you want to invest in a ship, then this might be the only high-sec capital for a very long time. Except fighters. This also might be a collector ship, because in the future this might rarely be built because of the high build cost, so then a sort of investment Cyansea surely is. But just like the nanocores that some people have, the implants that many people have, and the money in the wallet that some people have, this ship in my opinion does not destroy the game. It's a ship for the 1% that can afford it and are willing to pay for a small upgrade, or just to be collected. Now I hope this video helped you guys to decide whether you want the ship or not, so you don't spend your money on something that you actually didn't need. It is easy to buy the bigger and better as soon as they arrive, but not everything is worth it. And by selling this shortly after you bought it, makes you lose more ISK than you actually made. So be clever and spend the money where it's best used. Let me know in the comments what you think about the ship, or what you'd rather farm with. And I'll see you guys again.
Enemy ships detected. We're under attack.